Good day, how are you? Today we come again for another session. Today we want to do circle geometry. But before we get into the theorems of circle geometry, what we need to know is we need to know the circle itself. The circle itself. So, here is called the center of the circle. The center of the circle. So now, if we have a line which goes through the center from one end of the circumference to the other end of the circumference, it's called a diameter. It's called a diameter. Remember, it has to go through the center from one point of the circumference to the other point of the circumference. What is a circumference? A circumference is the circle itself. The circle itself is called the circumference. The circle itself is called the circumference. So, from there, what do we need to learn again? Any line which comes from the center to any part of the circumference, from the center to any part of the circumference is called the radius. It's called the radius. So, we go again. Any part of the circumference like this, any part of the circumference, it's called an arc. It's called an arc. So, when we have like this, we have an arc. And this other part again, it's also an arc. So, we have two arcs here. A small arc, which is called a minor arc. This big part from here, going there until here, we call it the major arc. We call it the major arc. So, now we go again. There is a line which doesn't pass through the center of a circle, but it passes through the circle, touching any 2 points on a circumference. It's called a chord. It's called a chord. A chord. So now, a chord doesn't have to go through the center. A chord, it doesn't go through the center. As long as it doesn't touch the center itself, it doesn't touch the center, it's called a chord. So, a chord divides a circle. A chord divides a circle into two segments. A chord divides a circle into two segments. I'm shading this part, this part, this part, this part. All this part which I have shaded like right now, we call it a major segment. We call it a major segment. So, this part now, which we are left with, this one, trying to shade it, I'm trying to shade it, we call it a minor segment. We call it a minor segment. So, what you need to know when you are doing circle geometry, you have to be familiar with the circle. You have to know what is a chord, what is a diameter, what is radius, what is an arc, what is a major segment, what is a minor segment. Right. The other thing which we need to know, a diameter is 2 times radius. A diameter is 2 times radius. So whenever you have, you know the radius, it means you can find a diameter. If ever you have the diameter and you want to find the radius, you can easily find the radius, because the radius is twice in the diameter. So now 2 radiuses, we get 1 diameter. So now I think if we know this, I think we will be good to go, and we can be good to continue with our second geometry. So from here now, we are going to the theorems of second geometry.